The stock is down around 7.5% currently in pre-market after earnings. Let's do some analysis on the price so we can better understand why price may be doing what it's doing, where might some price targets be if you're wanting to buy the stock or sell the stock. So the first thing I'm noticing here is we have a trend line going from the top here back in 2021. It's been tagged in 2024 as well, so you've got to imagine this is a very powerful trend line. And the next thing that I'm noticing is there is what looks to be a double top on the stock here. We got to around $265, not quite making it to that powerful trend line. Now, typically before you have a big rollover on the stock, I would expect that major trend line to be tagged, but perhaps that will be coming in the future at some point, okay? So the bullish case would be that we have a momentary top in place here. This is a double top, so price has gone here, it's come back down, it's tried to break above and it has not been able to, it's been rejected. Typically a very bad sign for price, but in the long term, we would expect to eventually tag this trend line once more. At the end of the day, guys, we have to be very careful here because this is bearish, the double top, and the other bearish thing I'm noticing is we have a very big gap that needs to be filled at around $170. And gaps like this are very often filled at some point. It doesn't have to happen immediately by any means. But with such a double top in place, I really wouldn't be surprised at all if price did come down a further 23% or so, down to $170 on AMD. Now that might represent a pretty decent buying opportunity in the short term if you were expecting the price then to perhaps rally back up to maybe $300, tag that trend line before heading lower eventually. That could be something that you anticipate. So $170 is a potential buy zone, buy opportunity. Even if you only get back up to the $270 double top that we've had, that's still, a 55% move. So could be interesting. That being said, if there are further market wobbles and the S&P, NASDAQ are falling, the NASDAQ interestingly also had a double top, which perhaps I can show you for a second there. There's a very similar double top to the one on AMD. So I would be careful. If the market in general is selling off, then you might not get that push back up for a little bit. Might take some time. The next thing that I'm looking at here, guys, is a very key trend line for buy level that I would use, which is all the way here through these lows here. You see price essentially was around here in 2019 and it began a huge run up. We came back, we tested the low again, we ran up again, we tested the high. You see we're trading in this sort of pattern here, and price came back down, again found support, again came back up, didn't quite get to the trend line, but you imagine if it were to come back down here, this would be quite the buying opportunity potentially, as long as you're not going into, sort of a longer term extended bear market where price may even go below this trend line. That would represent a 60% drop from current levels, which I don't think is out of the question. I could expect that you're gonna, let me draw out my expected pattern. So it's hard to say whether we will be going straight down from here. Maybe we're gonna chop around a bit, but we may be headed to this line here, get a rebound of some kind, and then perhaps heading lower before bouncing back up to this trend line up here. That would be my expected path for the stock, to be completely honest, unbiased view of how that is looking to me. Of course, there's many paths that could play out, right? It may be coming back up to the trend line first before going lower and so on. But that's just what I'm seeing. Unbiased look at the stock and the price. So I hope that's really helpful for you guys. Some buy levels there. Perhaps buying at 170 could be good for a bounce. Perhaps buying at maybe $90 in the future if we are getting a broader sell-off in the market. And something like a $300 price target in the coming months if you are able to get there. Maybe higher. Could be as high as, 330, 340 if we are reaching that in, longer time frame. So subscribe as always for more daily charts, guys. I'm analyzing all kinds of stocks, hopefully providing some very useful analysis. We've been right on the money about a lot of the bearish price action on a lot of stocks recently. So I hope you'll subscribe and follow along for what I consider to be valuable insights on the markets. Anyhow, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.